Hellos. Mko sawa? How have you been? And how are you, Daktari?
I'm fine.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
Yeah, this is Mums and Babies show. Where we celebrate life by walking the motherhood journey together. Tunatembea na watoto wetu everywhere we go. And tunapenda experts like you mnatupatia information, sisi hapa and even our audience out there, young mothers, expectant mothers and the family at large. So karibu sana.
Asante.
Yes. Today we're talking about postpartum infections. Like after tunaona tukiwa pregnant, there are so many tests that tunapitia. Just to check kama infections ziko, and then kama nilikuwa treated like that. Then kuna ule yako sawa, but after delivery kuna zile infections zenye wamama tunapata or we are prone to get. So I think daktari to take through, and then now we know how to go about it. Karibu sana. Postpartum infections, mwanzo inamaanisha nini daktari na layman's?
Okay, post is means after.
Okay.
So something must have happened before it's post. So postpartum is after a mother has given birth. It can be immediately hours, days after giving birth.
Okay.
So the postpartum infections are the infections you get after you've given birth. It can be hospital acquired or how you manage yourself at home. Those are the two conditions where we get those conditions.
Okay.
And then during that period, up to 6 weeks, for those who undergo a normal cycle, normally recover within 6 weeks. We call it the puerperium period. And to some extent, it can affect some people psychologically, and you develop mental conditions.
Okay.
Like for example, postpartum depression in most cases, because now you have different hormones in your body. Some have been suppressed and some are coming in. For example, the oxytocin hormone to support lactating mothers, or that's breastfeeding. And then estrogen is gone. And then the site itself and the experience, a sudden change of experience in your life can make you feel depressed. Yeah.
Okay. So umesema umetuambia kuna zile infection unapata immediately at the hospital na zingine as you go on. Yes. So ni which kind of infections unapata infections gani?
So under postpartum infections, we have around we have a number of them.
Yes.
But there are some that are distinct.
Okay.
One, we have endomyometriosis. Is a term. Okay, I will explain what it means.
All right. Yes.
Endomyometriosis is composed of two words in itself. Endometrium, that's the lining of the uterus. Ile lining ya uterus huko ndani yenye normally yenye na menstruate. The inner lining. Okay. And the other part, metritis, now ni infection ama irritation. Anything that has your cervix ya TIS at the end, kama endocarditis, peritonitis, anything that ends like that or sounds like that is an inflammation. Okay. Inflammation, it means there is a reaction going on, and which can exacerbate ama increase chances of infection. So now this is the inflammation of the
uterus.
Myometrium.
Okay.
Yeah. So the inner lining. It happens during this period because that's the most vulnerable stage in a mother's life, because that's the time you have opened your cervix. Now it can communicate between the vaginal canal and the inner lining. Normally we have a lot of bacteria in the vaginal canal.
Yes.
But now when you're giving birth, or some procedures done through you, you can have them transferred into your inner lining, which is, in most cases, it's very sterile. Sterile means, in this case, I'm talking about the hospital sterile.
Yes.
Sterile means this region has no access to bacteria. You see, there is no way that bacteria can access. But if it's compromised, then we can have bacteria in that region. So when the cervix opens, we have now bacteria moving from the vaginal point to the uterine wall. Okay. And then it causes infection. Now that one occurs in most cases if you are wrongly handled in the hospital. Or maybe you had complications in the process. For example, your placenta was removed manually. There is also the other thing. Wanasema iti maji haiku break haraka. It take time. Ama ili breakiwa mapema. So when a woman is in labor and then you do it too early, it means now you are opening a communication between the outside and the inside of the uterus. Now it means now the cervix is open for a long period. You know, labor can last up to 12 hours. Normally it's between 12 hours to 18. Some can extend up to 20, 22 hours. I think you are experienced on that. So if we have that long period and then we don't have a sterile field around you, you can have an infection and it will access your uterine wall. That's the number one type of infection. And then we have the second one. We have wound infection. For those people who went through cesarean section, that's surgery, and those who have abrasions. And in the olden days, we had
abrasion in the time. What's abrasion?
Abrasions, you were bruised. Or you had a laceration. Like you have breakages. Yes.
So wakati ulikuwa unajifungua,
you have breakages.
So mali penye ilikuwa ili tangi.
Yes. So if you have those, then it means they can also be infected because now it can open media to the bloodstream. Inakuwa access na bacteria na kama iko active hizo how do we call bacteria in soil? They can get access into the bloodstream. So hiyo ni ya pili, lacerations. Kitambo watu ilipokuwa unasindikana kuzaa ama njaa ni ndogo, walikuwa wanafanya episiotomy. Episiotomy hiyo kukatwa na makasi.
Kama English najua.
Walikuwa wanakata the upper part because the lower part, ukikata the lower part you might have a continuous. Inaweza anza communicate with the anal orifice. So it's not advised. And then you have the fecal content, ikuja on the other side. There is corrosive infection. Ama vitu zingine mnasikia eti mama akona atresia. There is a communication. So that's the second type of infection. Then the third one, we have the UTI, urinary tract infection. You can also acquire those during that period. What huwa wanavalia hizi, what we call them, these sanitary towels.
Tulikuwa tunazita aje?
Hizo
cotton.
If they stay there for long, they can also infect. They can also have those bacteria move up the urinary stream, the urethra.
Maternity pads, right?
Hizo pads. So kama umeziaka hapo and you are not keen enough how to change them, you don't know how much, kama iko soiled enough, more than 3/4 of it is soiled, it anza move back.
Where?
Sasa ina cause hizo urinary tract infection. So utaanza, you will have painful urination. Unaanza kutoa smell. Hiyo udua, alafu unaanza feel pain up to the level of the blood and sometimes to the level of the kidneys. Inaweza cause ascending infection. And then the third one, Your wounds. Let's talk about those wounds.
Yeah.
I love the fourth one, most important. We have infection on the breast.
Okay.
In the other language, you call them mastitis.
Oh, yeah.
So watoto wanaweza okota uchafu. If you are not keen with your kid, wakiwa mless, unaweza kuwa na chukua vitu alafu ana infect hapo. Now that the nipples are open, you can also have you yourself. If you are not looking at yourself, au change nguo often, una maziwa inakuja inabaki kwa nguo, then unarudia hiyo nguo hauoshi, na bacteria zinapenda sukari zinakuja hapo, then they go in. So
it's not good to stay with those clothes wakati zimejaza maziwa.
Si vizuri to hold the breast so much during that phase.
Oh, and like what you wanavaa now bras.
Yeah, and then kama unyonyeshi vizuri, you can unaweza fanya ukwe na abscesses.
Okay.
So all of those zina cause mastitis. So those are the most important infections after.
Okay.
And before that, we normally have, there is a discharge yenye inatoka from the vagina after delivery. So you have to know which one is normal.
Yes.
For the first 1 month. Because it has stages. The first 3 days, it's blood. It's red.
Yes.
And the next, from the 4th day up to the 10th day, it's always pink. Pink is light. Okay. It's not like red. And then from the 10th day up to the 28th day, it changes from pink to almost white. Okay. Yeah. But it has to be odorless. If in any chance you feel like there is a smell in that discharge, which means you are infected. And then you have to monitor the color. Any color that changes from yellow to green, it's a sign of infection. Yeah. So you have to know if you are supposed to have red discharge and then you have yellow the first 4 days, which means you are infected. And it has to be accompanied with some physiologic changes. Changes kwa normal functioning of the body. Unasikia mwili inakaa moto. Temperature inaenda juu. So ukipata iko around 38 plus you have that smell, then the color is, then you are infected.
Okay.
There's a friend of mine, but he ilikuwa some time back. She was telling me after amejifungua, her bleeding did not stop for like 2 months. What could have been the problem? Was it infection? Why?
Okay, bleeding. A placenta, the uterus is a very unique organ. Whenever you have something in it that is not supposed to be there, physiologically, that is being accommodated by the body processes, it tries to squeeze it out. Now it responds also by bleeding. It's like normally, kifika at the end of your periods, that lining yenye iliformiwa, which is not now going to be functional, it's normally squeezed out. That's why you have those, what you call it, those menses and the contractions and the pain.
Yes.
So if somebody has prolonged bleeding after birth, it means there are some retained organs of conception. You might have retained placental parts when in attach, and the uterus will always communicate by continuously squeezing itself to eliminate those parts, so you can have continuous bleeding. And the most important thing is you have to check and monitor the type of bleeding, the color. Color is always very important. So, but once you realize that, you should always go to the healthcare facility and be checked. But it's an indication that there is something remaining.
Yeah.
Okay. So it can bleed up to a point. It discharges itself, like it removes the remaining product by itself. But if they are so big and it's unable, you have to go to the hospital to remove by surgically or by any healthcare provider.
Okay.
These infections, daktari, are we getting them because of exposure ama unaweza zipata maybe via food? Kuna chakula unaweza kula then you are prone to more infections ama ni just by contact?
You can have them either way. You can have them via food, but if you take contaminated food, you can have that infection. But in most cases, we have body mechanisms that work through the digestive system, so chances of them infecting your reproductive system is iko chini. For example, in the stomach, kuna HCl, hydrochloric acid, most ina deal with some of the parts, but zikipita hapo zikienda chini, then the body responds, you can diarrhea for 2 to 3 days, of which hata watoi mkiona wakidiarrhea, si eti sign unampea dawa ya kustop diarrhea, una replace fluids, alafu unamwacha diarrhea, alafu unampea food, alafu anaendelea kunyonya, but you don't go for a drug that stops the diarrhea.
Okay.
And rest is very iko mbaya sana that anahitaji kuchangiwa, kuwekewa fluids hospitali. But diarrhea is a body's response to remove unwanted bacteria in the body. Inaendelea, but huwezi mwacha aende kabisa, but unamwacha aendeshe under monitoring. Juu anaweza endesha atoe maji yote. So diarrhea inakuanga like the body ina assemble much from other parts of the body to that section to wash that thing out. But sasa shida ni if you are not replacing this fluid, mtoto atakuwa dehydrated.
Na daktari, vitu kama tuseme hemorrhoids, inaitwa hemorrhoids ama inaitwa aje?
Hemorrhoids.
Ama tu vitu tu tunakuanga hapo very painful. I don't know what they are. Is it because of hormones ama ni?
No, hiyo that one is mechanical, ni pressure.
Oh.
Ni pressure mingi ile una exert.
Yeah, by the way, nilikuwa nayo. I remember daktari alisema wamecheck na wameona ni kama niko na hemorrhoids, but akawa anasema kwamba ni ndogo. So so ni kama zinafaa disappear. Yeah.
Is it na boils? Yeah, boils haiko kwa hiyo.
Boils inatokea, it depends on which type of bacteria uko infected nayo.
Okay.
Boils mostly zinakosiwa na Staphylococcus aureus.
Okay.
Like yeah, kuna watu wenye labda waki bleed daktari, like wakati wana resume unapata mtu anaenda labda kwa daktari ameze dawa ya kustopisha bleeding. Is it advisable or pia hiyo unaacha tu vile umesema kwamba mtu labda mtoto anaendesha, like is it also okay for the lady to leave a bleed too?
No. It's not okay. Kuacha bleed because you need this blood. Blood is not like something that is supposed to be eliminated from the body. See, normally human body we have around 5 to 6 liters of blood.
Yes.
So if you bleed more, you might have constant headaches because you don't have enough to circulate in your system. And then you can develop that cardiogenic shock. It's a shock in which, hypovolemic shock. You have low blood volume in your body.
Okay.
You can even become weak. So it's good to go for the drug to stop the bleeding so that you can have a reserve of your blood. And then after that you have to go and then they investigate what's going on that is causing this bleeding.
Okay. Na hizi conditions umetuambia daktari, are they treatable? Hizo infections ziko treatable?
Yes, they're treatable. They normally use antibiotics. What's wrong is if you start prescribing antibiotics for yourself. There are always levels. There are low-level antibiotics, and there are always very strong antibiotics. If you abuse them, it means the low-level antibiotics will never respond to you, and you can have drug resistance if you are so used to very strong antibiotics. So if they tell you go and use amoxicillin and paracetamol, just use that one. If it fails, that you can progress to another. That's why in most facilities like the health centers, these public hospitals, normally you get the most available drugs.
Yes.
You should use those ones. If you don't respond to those, then you can move to a stronger one. But you don't just move from the lower level antibiotics to the strong antibiotics just once. Chance of developing resistance is high. And if you resist the very strong antibiotics, it means now you don't have any drug that can help you in the future. So your options are so limited. So you should always wean yourself slowly from one stage to the other.
Okay. Na mbona sometimes maybe unapata, like now what happens if you've been treated all those levels mpaka the highest but bado resistance iko? Because I remember there's someone who had written I think a text message on this show, and that is now how it informed us to have this topic. Amekuwa kwa antibiotics, I think alipata anasema kwamba alienda kwa prescribe wakamwambia ni UTI, then akaikawa kwa antibiotics from chini like that ukienda, and then ikafika mahali mpaka wakafanya culture, like all the antibiotics are not working. They did culture, then the culture was okay, ilikuwa sawa, haionyeshi any resistance kwa dawa. So does it mean that maybe the problem is with the patient, or maybe dawa zimekata? And in that case now, anaweza saidika aje?
You see, if they have already done a culture and it's working, we normally call it culture and sensitivity. If this drug can eliminate this bacteria and they have done it through culture, and then you should take the drug as you were prescribed. If it's for 10 days, or it can go up to 14 days. So instruction is very important. For example, normally these drugs how they are prescribed, it's very important to observe that every drug has a half-life. There is onset and then peak hours, and then it declines or it's eliminated from the body. So for example, if you are given a drug that says 2 times 3, so you have to take 2 tablets after every 8 hours. 2 times 3 it means now you are going to divide your 24 hours into 3 subsections. So after every 8 hours, you find that 2 times 3. If you are given a drug that says 2 times 3.
See asubuhi lunch John.
No.
Oh my God.
That is what we do.
You are not serious. You are not serious.
Yeah.
Ngoja you wait.
Same here. Come on, you want to 2, I do 12. 12.
Yeah, 12,
right?
12.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
If it is times 4.
So 2 times 3. See, asubuhi lunch now jioni.
No.
Okay. Wow.
So those drugs ziko na plasma levels. So ukisema like hiyo yako eti 2 times 3 umeweka asubuhi, lunch na jioni, na hii dawa inafaa kukaa, you might be overdosing yourself at a given point.
Okay.
Because ile ya kwanza ijaisha from the blood, then umeongeza ingine.
Okay. So lunch ukiamua ukulelewa lunch saa 6, ya lunch unameza saa 6. So tomorrow if you decide to take lunch at 2, you meza at 2. Hi bresh.
Unaipea, you just give it a duration of 8 hours apart.
Okay. So it means maybe the problem is with the patient. Kuna vile labda hamezi dawa as it's supposed to.
Instructions, yes. Kuna zenye unaambiwa take those ones with food. Normally the pharmacy guy will tell you that this one you have to take with food. This one you take with the other. This is a specific drug does not interact with this one. So normally they tell you that it won't work if you take it with this one. Or it work if we take it with the other one.
Okay. Na sasa hizo ukiwa na hiyo infection na una breastfeed, is it possible to the infection to get to the child?
No,
and then also if you're under medication, it means the baby is also taking the antibiotic, right?
Not really. No, can only give medication to a baby if they are infected. Normally there is a criteria that shows the baby is infected, but you can't generalize because if you are infected, the baby is also infected. These are different organic. Normally in science, these are different human beings. You are not connected. You don't even have the same blood type.
Where?
Yes, it's ni ukweli. Si yako ni a combination of two people. Let's say for example ilikuwa O na babake ni A.
Yes.
So lazima harmonize the two.
Okay.
So atakuwa A yenye iko na O.
Okay.
AO. But sasa O hainanga antigens. So atakuwa A.
Okay. Well. Now that we just mentioned yangu na mwingine. What's wrong with you? So, like if you have these infections, if you have them, I know kwamba even maybe uko na partner. So will they also be affected? Like, and if yes, do you need to be treated, the two of you, for the infection? Ama hiyo infection tu kwa sababu ni ya postpartum, ni ya mama tu?
No, unajua infection, if kama it's a bacteria that can be transmitted, inaweza kuwa transmitted, and that could be an STI. But now you don't have an STI, you have a UTI.
UTI, yes.
Urinary tract infection. The other person anaweza kuinfect through kama kushare vitu kama bathroom, ni hivyo. But sasa because it's a UTI, there's no, hakuna venye anaweza nini, anaweza kuna symptoms. But for the case of the STIs, you have to be treated, both of you. Yeah.
So UTI akiwa kuna symptoms, it means you'll be affected.
Anaenda, unajua the best thing is anafaa kuje OC.
Okay.
Apimwe.
So how will he know that he's asymptomatic? Nimekuwa daktari leo.
But sasa,
yes.
Unajua the best thing, for hospital everything we assume, unless ume undergo a laboratory test to confirm that you have those bacteria. Easy clinical symptoms, it's like a lead. It points you to a specific direction. Now you confirm that by sending the person to the lab.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
If they confirm that they are infected, then you give them drugs. That's why in most cases, even if it's a very simple antibiotic, first you have to confirm that you are infected.
Okay.
Before using them.
All right.
Tuseme mtu wa cesarean section na normal, kuna mwenye ako prone to infections more ama?
No, it depends with an individual's immunity. If you have strong immunity, you can have strong immunity. And if you are exposing yourself, definitely you get infected.
Na tuseme that wound, the CS one.
Yes.
There was a time with my firstborn, ikakuwa infected. Na ilinitake a while kupona. Sijui what happens. Sijui ni maji ama mtu afai kuoga ama unafaa kuoga after how long, or how are you supposed to manage the whole wound thing?
Normally, we normally don't allow, ufai kuallow maji kuja hapo hivyo. Kwa hiyo unaweza oga, you can do the sponge part. You can do the sponge part. Hizo za kujipanguza tu. Shida hii maji.
Ama ile passport.
Hii maji si sterile. That's the problem.
Okay.
Our water is not sterile. Na ukinini hiyo place, hiyo maji ingie inakuja na bacteria.
Okay.
You know how deep it goes. So it's not good kama hiyo maji itaingia huko. Si mnasikia hata mtu mwenye akonomo but uko na ulcers and then perforate chanza kuingia kwa peritoneum.
Yes.
Infection inakuwa very fast, ina grow very fast because your place iko sterile.
Okay.
So hiyo inaweza, it can reach to specific points which are very delicate.
Yeah, so hakuna kuoga. Umesema sponge what? Sponge what? Sponge bath.
Normally normally after birth, normally mothers come to the clinic for checkup 2 weeks. So there you unachipanguza. Then you can, unajua you can always devise a way to take a shower. But as long as maji isikuja.
I told you that showering, lazima uchukue basin, you do this or you stand kwa shower. Who told you?
As long as maji sienda.
Ikiko infected is bad. It is bad. It took me a while kabla ipone tena.
So hizo bacteria za maji zina affect.
Bacteria inapanga everywhere. Ni vile if you are healthy already kuna immunity yenye inazitoa. But siki grow up to a given extent, they become pathogenic. They can cause disease.
Okay. And do soaps also contribute to that? Soaps, the types of soaps tunatumia kuoga, do they contribute to the infections? Ama zina speed up or?
No,
because sometimes you hear daktari anasema, hey ladies, avoid perfumed soap.
For the babies.
For the
babies mostly.
Oh.
Because wakizaliwa hivyo hawana immunity yenye iko strong.
Okay.
So their skin can react.
Is the reason why you use, I don't know, you know, I used to do this without thinking of it. After postpartum you use antiseptic. Is that the reason? You put antiseptic in the water?
Yes, for the baby.
For me now.
Yes.
Oh, that's the reason why.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know I was doing that, but I was doing that. Now I understand.
That's like, it's prophylactic. It's preventive.
Oh, I understand.
It prevent.
Okay. Wow, that is fine. So I think to learn a lot in terms of postpartum infections, and you know postpartum inaendaga paka what age? 2 years?
Postpartum.
Period.
Mostly the normal puerperium goes up to 6 weeks.
So tumezeeka.
6 weeks.
So we are old.
No, physiologically, after 6 weeks, your body goes to normal. Even a wound is completely healed.
Okay.
But that point, that muscle is not that strong enough. So you have to start exercising again.
So mpaka 2 years hivi.
So if you don't have any...
Daktari sema hivyo tubembelezwe kidogo. Postpartum imeenda mpaka 2 years, ndio? Tujapona sana daktari.
Utakosa some parts of your life zitakuwa zimeenda. Of course, motherhood is for a lifetime. Unajua pia you can accustom yourself to something that you don't want.
Yes. That's okay. Thank you, daktari. So next time maybe you'll take us through phototherapy and jaundice. And next time we get that opportunity. But for today, tumelearn a lot. So ladies, let us take care of ourselves. Let's keep on, hata kama tumekuwa wazee, we keep on taking care of ourselves. Hizo challenges, some of us have gone through it, na tumeona tukisaidika na experts. And for the young mothers out there, wale ambao pia bado karibu wanafika hapo, make sure that you take care of yourself so that these infections usizipate. And kama zitakuwepo, ensure that you are very keen to get treatment, to get help immediately, as early as possible, because I'm very sure daktari, without treating the infections, zitaleta complications. That is fine. So remember these moms and babies, where we celebrate life by walking the motherhood journey together, only on MBCI TV. Hadi siku nyingine, kwaheri.